Hi everyone, welcome to today's video, and today we're going to answer 5 frequently asked questions. So for those of you that don't know, I'm Rosey Cassidy, the land director at Cassidy Group. We're a family-run residential property development business based in the Midlands, UK, with over 30 years experience. So the first question is, do you need to go to university to be a property developer? And did I personally go to university? So no, I didn't personally go to university, and that is because no, you don't need to go to university to be a property developer. So property development as an industry has very low barriers to entry in terms of education, because really there's no set qualifications that anyone needs. A lot of people are potentially quantity surveyors. That's a niche area of property development, but to be a property developer in the sense as Cassidy Group are, no, you don't need to go to university. There is not really any courses out there that will teach you to do what we do available at university. Question 2 is, what is my favourite part of the development process? And really it depends on the sort of site I'm looking at. So the bigger sites, I really like the initial phases of them, because that's when I'm more hands-on. So I really like appraising the site, getting the plans in, discussing it with the architect, really trying to maximise the density on that site and crunching the numbers, because that's when it gets really exciting, because we could be looking at a site for 500 units, which is very, within a city, that makes a big impact, and it's nice to be part of that process. So I like the early stages of the big developments. And then for the smaller sort of luxury home developments we do, I really like looking at floor plans and design. So I always look at all the floor plans for all our house types, just to make sure they're really efficient and the best use of space, and that they're logical in their layout, because so often, we get all the way through to a built product and we think that was a silly way to design that doorway or that size of room. So I really like to get into the nitty-gritty of the floor plans very early on. And then I also like to get involved in the design later on. So I always pick things like the kitchens, the finishes, the bathrooms, the tiles. I really like getting into that sort of interior design sort of role in the smaller schemes. Question 3 is, what is my dream development? It's quite a hard one. I'd really like to do something grand design style, one-off bespoke house with all the new technology and everything in. But probably on a larger corporate scale, I would love to be involved in a development which is for an iconic building. So, something like the Shard, or something that changes an iconic city skyline and becomes a prominent building within that skyline, whether or not that be for residential, offices, a hotel, or something. But I would love to be involved in a really iconic building in London, for example. Question 4 is, what is the hardest part of the development process? Now, I think each company probably might have a slightly different answer to this one, but for me personally, and as at Cassidy Group, I would say that the planning process is hard. Now, not because the concept of planning itself is hard, but just because, unfortunately, within planning, there's no real objective measures for what is right and what is wrong, what is acceptable and what isn't. So for what is overall a very quantifiable journey, the planning aspect becomes very political and very much, it's led by your individual planning officer's personal opinion. And that's very frustrating, because you can have a site that in theory meets all planning law, but because there's no objective measures of that, can get a lot of objection or a lot of pushback or even a refusal simply based on more personal opinion than planning law or anything like that. So it's a very frustrating part of the journey. So that's probably what I find the hardest, because sort of emotions are up and down, and yeah, you get that sort of frustrated day-to-day dealing with planning applications sometimes. And then the final question is, what is Cassidy Group's focus at the minute and focus moving forward? So I would say the main focus is still very much on the large-scale student accommodation and private rental sector apartments, and that that £1 billion portfolio we have, and growing that and delivering that. But also I think moving forward, we want to start moving into retaining a lot more assets. So at the minute, we don't retain anything we build, everything is sold, whether that's to the open market or private investment funds. Either way, we sell and don't retain, but I think moving forward, we would like to start moving more into that operator space and potentially retaining some of the assets for our own portfolio. So that's it for today's lesson, and I hope you guys enjoyed it and it answered some of your questions. If you have got any other questions or potential ideas for content, please do drop them in the comments below and we'll be sure to do a video on them. Also, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel. And if you are interested in learning more about property development, click the link below where you can register for our webinar.